Kia ora, and welcome to Constellations and All That. I'm your host, Tracy Cartwright, and together we will be exploring the world of family constellations with facilitators and clients from around the world, looking at different perspectives and experiences in the work, having a cup of tea, and just chatting with some friends around their experiences in constellations. We'd love for you to join us. I hope that you enjoy this series as much as I have loved making it. Kia ora, everyone. Welcome to Constellations and All That. Today, I have the pleasure of chatting with Marco Navarro. I'm trying to roll my R's there. Didn't do a very good job, nowhere as near as good as Marco does, when we were just practicing his last name. I had the pleasure of meeting Marco just recently in Mexico, in Mérida, which is where the ISCA conference was. So I'm going to pass over to you, Marco, and just invite you to share just a little bit about you, whatever you want to say.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. It's a real pleasure to be here talking to you. I really enjoy our meeting in Mérida. It was really great for me being able to be at your workshop and not only like with the translation, but the energy you have when you're working. It was so beautiful, the connection of the drums and the connection to the mountains and the rivers.
Mm.
I still have that with me every day. Thank you very much. Well, a little bit about me. I've been doing constellations now for more than 20 years. I started really young. I was the youngest of my generation at that time.
Mm.
And, it was those times when you started to do a constellation and you invited people and everybody was like, what's that? I mean, it still
Mhm.
happens today, but at that time it was really something, like, so everybody was like that. So it was kind of hard, trying to explain in 5 minutes or less what was a constellation. So at that time, it was for most people going just this act of faith of going to
Mm.
work in therapy. But I really appreciate how it has been moving from those times. Now most people at least know about it or have listened about it, and so it's total different times. So yeah, that's basically I have the opportunity to learn with many teachers that at that time I had the opportunity to be with Bert Hellinger at her, and then many of his first line students I have the opportunity to assist to their workshops too, and I'm really happy and I really thankful of having this tool in my life because it totally
Mm.
changed a lot of my life. So I'm really thankful with Bert Hellinger for this tool and on all the teachers and the clients that trust, assisting to one of these sessions, which is it's quite an adventure. I always tell them that it's like we take our hands and go inside the cave to try to find a minotaur together. So when we go together, it's less scary and it's easier to get inside. And also, the other thing I love about constellations for me is like this ancient gathering around the fire. The circle. You get around the circle and you start telling your stories of your families, stories of your ancestors. And I think that's just a healing thing. Just gathering together with the same intention. I think it's such a beautiful thing. So yeah, that's like basically
Yeah.
part of my path.
Beautiful. Absolutely. I totally agree. The fire I share with people in my workshop, and I think I did at the at Merida, that for me it's like we all come from people of the fire, right? We all come from that original circle of people on the fire. So it is taking us back to those times energetically, and in a modern way, but in a way that we can access that ancient wisdom as well. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, I love this. Sorry, this who was this? It was a student from Carl Jung. I forgot his name, but he used to say that the therapists now are like We are like the remnants of the priests, and then from the first medicine man and medicine woman. Like
Mm,
that's the work we carry on. Like it's the work of ho- holding society one by one. So I really like that connection to the past.
yeah, yeah, me too. Very much so. I had the pleasure of having you be my translator in Mexico. And I'll try and set the scene for those who are listening to understand. Because you came to the workshop and you didn't realize that you were going to be my translator. Kind of threw you in the deep end. But I had witnessed you translating at other workshops throughout the week as well. And then we were working through the session, and I used my drum and I used my voice, I tone, and I'd set up an exercise. So mine was much more of an experiential workshop more than theory. And then halfway through, my headset decided not to work, and I said to you, "You're going to have to be my microphone, Marco." And you were so, I just loved that. Every time I moved, you moved with me. It was like you were really there. Sequence, every time I turned around or I took a step forward, you were like my shadow. And it was just, I just have to say, it was so comforting and so easeful to work alongside you in that way. I really, really appreciate that.
Thank you very
Um,
much. Thank you. I really enjoyed that also that experience for because it's for me when somebody's working on the field is the respect to the field and the
mm,
respect for the person who's holding the field because I know what that means. So I know that when you're there, you were holding all these people, all this energy, and also when well, for me, it's when you bring the drum, you're bringing much more than that. Like
mm,
the drum is the heart. So first of all, is to be respectful of the person who's leading, respectful of the space, and then it's just to be able to be at your service. It's like being able to
mm.
be at your service. So
Yes.
I really like that because I learned more from you. And at the beginning, it was hard for me, like this kind of putting my ego aside, like my mind saying, "What's this?" Or any questions that come, just being able to say to the mind like, "Hey, this is not your time. We will think about it later." This moment is we're just in this channeling, like in a constellation, like we're just like at this center, we're just channeling, and later we talk. So that
Mm,
was really nice, and I also think like what you were doing there, because as you say, it was more experiential. I know when I don't know. I like to think that when you open the field, you work in many levels. So also you as the facilitator and me as the translator, we were representing something. So
absolutely.
when you don't know what's that, it's better to be humble to the field and just do what it asks you to do and just flow with it. So thank you very
Mm.
much.
Yeah, yeah, well, it was great. It was, you never know how that dance is going to go, right? With the
Right.
translation and because I'm in the process myself as a
Mm.
facilitator and that worked really well. But we had an interaction much earlier on through different things through a moment. I think on the first day, you and I had a lovely conversation outside the dining room. We were, yeah, the connection. There was a bit of downtime and we had that connection. So it was really cool that you ended up being my translator. So really, really grateful. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
How did you come to Constellations? How did Constellations find you?
Oh, it was so cool. I was really young and I wanted to be an actor at that time. So I was studying acting, and I had a friend who she was like the first generation of constellators in Mexico, and she always told me to assist to a constellation, and I was like, yeah, someday, and she was like, it would like you because it looks like theater. It's like something like theater. It was like okay. So one day, another friend, she was going to a constellation and she was going with somebody, but the person who was accompanying her was not able to go. So she told me, "Do you have time to go?" And I say, "Okay, let's just go and see what's this about." And when I was there, wow, my mind was blown. Like it was too much to digest because the first thing it was like, damn, this is like theater, but this is real. I mean, the lady crying there, she's not reading a script, she's not acting. It's her life, it's her experience. So that was the first thing that caught me. But then also, since I was a child, I used to like to read a lot of, like things like metaphysics or quantum physics or all those things. And I used to think that I was like the crazy kid, but I never said that to anybody. It was like to myself, I used to be that kid who put a piece of paper and wanted to move it just with my mind in my room without nobody knowing that I was doing those things. Okay, that's great to know. So when I was there and I was watching this thing moving, and I was watching that I was not the only one that was looking at it, for me, it was also relief. It was like, damn, I'm not crazy. They are all watching what I'm watching, and this is real. So that was the moment when I felt that I integrated something about me that I was like kind of rejecting. That was like this first great movement. So from that moment on, I kept on going every week because it was a week group. So I started going every week to do constellations, and yeah, I decided I have to know how this works, and I started studying constellations. And since then, I haven't stopped working on that for 23 years, almost 24 years now.
Wow, fantastic.
So it was, yeah, it was really, yeah, it was about, it changed totally my life. And a lot of processes of my life moving change. I leave the theater and I dedicated purely to the therapy. So I started studying more about therapy and more. I always like to read a lot of books, so I started like reading a lot, and well, my life took another path that one I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. So was that the emerging future? What's actually coming and versus what we think is coming, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I
that's
like
really
this
good.
this video. There's this video. It's a group from the United States called Blind Melon. It's from the 80s or 90s, I think. So the video is a little girl who's dressed as a little bee, and she's dancing tap in a theater, and everybody's booing her. Nobody likes her dance. So she comes to the street and she starts dancing to everybody in the street, and nobody likes her. They laugh about her. So she's really sad till finally she comes to this playground. She opened the door and it's full of people dressed as bees dancing like crazies, and she's like, oh, this is my group, this is my tribe. So I felt like that when I arrived to Constellations, like this little bit like, oh, this is my group.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. I was like that too. And when I first met Constellations, I was like, "Oh, I know this. This feels familiar." Mm.
Right, right, that's beautiful, familiar, that's the word.
So, because Constellations is quite well known, isn't it, through South America?
Yeah. It's really, really good movement, mostly in Mexico, in Colombia, and Brazil. They're
Mm.
the three places where it grew more.
Yeah.
But I think it has to be with the structure of families here, because in Latin America, families are tend to be more grouped. More. It's not yet that dependent thing of like you have to move from your family. There's people who live with their parents now. They are 30 years and they're still living at their parents' house. They got married, they got the wife to the house, and the
Mm.
families are together. So, in a positive sense, it's really good because you have your tribe in there. You have a lot of people who supports you. But what I've realized, the problem is that we've lost what Hellinger calls the order. So you have all the family together, but there's no order. So instead of being a fluid relationship between families, it's the turning into conflicts, when people are not respecting the orders and the place in the family. So that's why I think constellations really got a good reception here, because it's a good way to put order in families that are already together, a little bit mesh also.
And Hellinger spent a lot of time there too, didn't he? Throughout Mexico
Right.
and Brazil. And so I know that in Brazil they have constellations in the courts. and in some hospitals. Is there anything like that in Mexico?
No, at that level, no. There's been tryouts about it. I have, for example, the opportunity of working with
Hmm.
in Galarrobel. We went to work with a government institution, like a police government institution, and it was really interesting to work with them with this tool. They were obviously like not trusting the program,
Mm.
but it's a little bit harder here to be received. There's been a lot of attempts, and there's people working, like jails, like big companies, and also people doing things in the government. But it's not like an official tool, like in Brazil. They've got it like even like an official tool.
Yeah, because for us in New Zealand, it is still quite, it's been here for a long
Mm.
time, but it's not, it's only the last few years that it's really starting to get known and more people are hearing about
Mm.
it. And so it's really just starting to take off here.
Oh, that's that. Well, that's great. Like it's
Mm.
it's the times that the expansion is already here,
Yeah.
and it's needed. I think with pandemics, after pandemics, we got this needing of gathering again together, everybody like in physical. So that's
Mm.
why this time the concerts are full and everything that has to be with people together is growing. So I think it's good for constellations because people really have this desire of going to a physical place to work with other people, to be with other people in physical, not only online.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that community and that tribal connections and
Right. Yeah. And I think I love really a lot is that in the end we're still monkeys. So we still have our reptilian brain, and we need the touch, the contact, the smell
mm.
of the other to feel safe and to feel connected and to make these links with other people. So I see it in constellations, just arriving to a group of people, just being there. It's something,
Mm.
I know something is healing, just knowing that you're part of something, and then you have this intention of healing, so that is makes the perfect tool for balancing.
Exactly. How do you describe it? Like, I don't know, if you met someone, say, that didn't know anything about constellations, how would you describe it to them?
Well, I usually say it's to have a diagnostic of where are you standing, like a map, so you can know where you're
Mhm.
standing in this moment of your life and which are the roads or tools you have to move in this map.
Right.
That's what I would say, like the briefest thing to say.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I don't have to say it too much. I just the people just arrive and usually they say, "I've heard about it," or somebody already told me about it. This
Mm.
this this show, the my other self that was on Netflix, helped a lot of
It sure
divulging
did. Yeah. And I hear there's another series of it coming out soon, season
Mm,
3. Yeah.
okay, that's great. I hope it has a lot of people watch it, so they are more interested into
Yeah.
coming to the work.
I know that your father's passed recently and you shared a little bit with me earlier, but how has Constellation supported you in that process, if it has at all?
Yeah, like for me, getting this idea of Hellinger about taking the parents, it's taken me a big part of these 20 years of work. Because it's always like, oh, take your parents. Oh, I take it. Oh, I take it. Oh, I take it. But for me, it was just this awareness of, sometimes I was thinking, take your parents was take the things they are carrying and carry the things they are carrying. That was what I had the idea of it. So when I was able not to understand it rationally, but in my body, that taking the parents it was respecting them with everything that they really have, like being able to see the things that I don't like as a children, or I don't like, or I would expect to be different, and being able to realize that that was part of them. And again, not intellectually, because I could do it in my mind. That was like kind of easy, but really being able to do it in my
Yeah.
body. It was so good because at that moment I was able also to accept the things that I tend to criticize from myself or judge from myself. So that was the first part of it. So in this time, being with my father, and also, like the thing that I know about constellations, working through long time, is that you can talk to the soul of the person, not only the mind. So in my father's case, he had already Alzheimer's. So I was with him at the hospital, and I was able to talk to him to in the soul level, knowing that he was listening. So
Yeah.
that was good for me, like the the assurance for myself that he was listening. It was good to me, and it was really nice because there was a moment when I was saying goodbye to him, and also in Constellation, I realized that the only thing when you're an older children to your parents to tell them is like the basic things that Bert Hellinger said, like thank you for my life, I love you, you're living in my body, in my cells, in my genes, and I will do something nice with my life. So basically, I was able to tell him that when he was in the bed, and it was beautiful because I could I could see that a teardrop come out from his eye,
Mhm.
and for me that was the confirmation that he was listening. So also that was for me, like really really relaxing. And so yeah, basically, and also when he passed away, I arrived. He had just recently passed away, so I was able to take his hand, and it was still hot, his hand. And also through constellations, working with people who passed away, and like I don't want to say the spirits because that's not a word you would use, but the soul after trespassing this life, you can in constellation you can talk to these souls. So I knew that in a sense it was for me comfortable to know that he was there, and just tell him like you're free, you already passed away. I was telling him, I guess this is confusing because you've been like long time in Alzheimer's, and suddenly I don't know, maybe you're clear now and you're watching your body. I don't know. I was telling him if I would be you, and this is what I would do. So for me, telling him that, it was in a way helping him to pass away. That was
Yeah.
my intention
Yeah.
as a son, like the good son, and I can realize that. But also as an adult, it was good for me to really say goodbye to him because I could also even do an exercise of honoring his body, like giving thanks to his
Mhm.
body for caring with him all this time. So it came a point when I could see his body and realize that it was just a body. It was, my father, as my father, was not there. It was just like when you take your clothes and you leave the clothes there. It was just the clothes. So that was also nice. And another thing that I could do, it was when I was by his side in the bed, I could also do this exercise of, you know, putting my inner child, like in Constellation, and imagine my
Mhm.
inner child, what he was doing. And I could tell my inner child was next to the bed, like asking, what's going to happen to my father? Is he okay? I'm going to miss him, all these things. So I do this exercise of just hugging my inner child and telling him, no, I'm going to take care of you. I'm the one who's taking care of you. And yeah, that is passing to this process, and he's going to say goodbye, but he's going to be with us in another way, in a different way. So that was also good for me because I didn't experience like this kind of, I don't know how to say it, if that's the right word, like this drama of, I mean, I did cry. I did have the sadness, but it was not yeah, I was not against what was going on. And I didn't have this expectation that it would be different. That's something I think that it's helped me a lot from constellations. When you're there with this attitude of just respect what it is, accept what it is, and what
Mhm.
it is can be painful, and what it is can be sad, but that's also something that is. So I think that was a great tool for me to be able to be there, accepting everything that was happening. And then also, I could see all I used to hate going to hospitals. That was something I really hated, like, because I've always been sensitive and I always get these things. But this time, for the first time, I could see all the love that there's in a hospital. Because I was watching like people who was sick, passing there, and I could see how their symptoms were at the service of their families, or sometimes it was even at the service of the doctors and the nurses. I was like, that's crazy, like even they are helping the doctors and their nurses with their symptoms. And also this thing that we as a human has, like this species that we take care of others, to be able to see all these doctors, all these nurses taking care of other people with such attention, with such detail, people that you would say they're not their family. And you can tell, well, yeah, it's their job. They get paid for that. Yeah, but it was not only the money. It was, like this really love, this big love that Hellinger talked about in Constellations that moved us. I could see the hospital being moved by all the love. So when that was happening, I didn't feel alone there in the experience with my father. There was no feeling of loneliness, like he's leaving me, I'm gonna be alone. It was the other way. It was like, damn, there's a lot of loving here. So that was really beautiful. I mean,
I was going to say, and do you think on some level that in that awareness, in your awareness through that, that there was another layer of help? You know how in the field when we're working in a constellation and we see something, it's not just the client that's getting it, but there are the representatives and then there are the witnesses and then there are the
mm,
others. And even though it's not, sometimes things aren't spoken, there is so much that is released. And I'm wondering, as you
mm,
were sharing that, there was a part of me thinking, oh, I wonder if, as Marco was receiving that and and saying yes to all of that, what it was opening up in the field. And then obviously you were able to see the
mm,
love and receive the love. And that would have been rippling
mm,
out, right? That would have been amplified.
mm.
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful. And I can tell, like, for example, when the doctor came, my attitude towards them, it was of gratitude, of real gratitude. Like, and they
Mm.
were trying to explain, like we did the best and blah. Like, they were waiting if I would be angry or something. And I was like, no, I just give you thanks because I know you did the best for the best you could. So I like what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know what was expanding over there, but yeah, that's another thing I love about the constellations point of view when you see the big picture of things. When the more, because we cannot see everything, but the more you can see, it's beautiful how, yeah, everything is really connected.
Yeah, and that potential goes into the field, right? For someone else to receive that as well. That someone else might have a
Right.
moment recognizing, oh, this is actually healing. This is beautiful. This is I'm seeing love. I'm feeling love. Whereas they may not have had that experience if it wasn't already in the field too. So, because hospitals are tricky places, right? There's a lot of
Yeah.
energy
Right.
going on, and a lot of emotion
Right.
flowing around.
Right. Yeah. 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 Every time I came out, I do take my bath because I have my teacher. He used to tell me when there's a lot of energy, you take your bath and you clean yourself and, like just let it go
Mm,
just in case.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I learnt because I'm like you too, really sensitive, and I pick up on people's energy really quickly. And
Mm,
so I learnt that if I imagine the edge of my aura, which is, our auras are really big, like we can be
mm,
standing in the middle of a 6 meter sphere, right, on average. So there's 3 meters in front, 3 meters behind it. And see it and pull it in. Imagine the edges of it like an iridescent bubble and start pulling it in, pulling it in. And then it get to a point where it's sticky and it doesn't want to come in anymore because it's full, like the aura's full. So I imagine that
mm.
these little flaps open up. And then as I pull
Okay.
in, anything that doesn't belong to me can squish out like spaghetti noodles. And then
Oh,
it'll
that's
get
nice.
to a point where it softens again, where all of the things that don't belong to me have oozed out. So I can close off those holes and become a nice sphere again and just bring in a little bit more so it's nice and light, especially if I'm going to the hospital or to visit someone or to the
Mm,
supermarket or the mosh pit. No, I don't go to mosh pits, but if I was, so
uh,
I'd definitely do that. And
mm.
then it will unfold when you're feeling comfortable in that. But that for me has been a great, even in aeroplanes, because everybody's
Yeah, of
stuck in
course.
this
You're right,
field
right.
too.
Yeah.
Yes. vehicle together. So
Right.
it's been a great resource for me. And I get to the point where I can
Nice.
just do it now. It's like it's done. Whereas it used to be a process. Now it's like such a
Wow.
good tool.
Yeah, I thank you for sharing it. And I was thinking about my experience in this particular case, and I was realizing that I also felt protected by my father. It was funny, in a way, I was feeling protected by him because I know he was going to this process, and I could see the warrior inside of him. Like even though his age, I could see his body like strong and you.
Mm.
So I was like, what I thought is, I respect you're a warrior, and I respect this is the way you're passing, and this is the way you're doing it. So now that it's just I'm realizing that I felt protected just being by him, although he was in this situation, and I felt protected. And there was a moment when the doctor said, like, well, he may get a heart attack one of these moments. And I just remember, I just take a deep breath, and I imagine my grandmother, my grandfather, and I really had this feeling. And I know it could be psychologically, but for me, it was totally energetically. I had the feeling my grandmother, my great grandmother coming into space. And I even have this feeling of, oh, okay, thank you. Like you know what to do with him. Like, thank you for being here. And it was so good, I felt all the time protected, my ancestors in that place.
Beautiful. And you've got I
Mm,
hear you've got a cold, which is not uncommon after someone's passed
mm.
that we come down with a cold. It's kind of like the another layer of grief being released.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
mum transitioned, we'll call it, transitioned to the other side a couple of years ago, and I had five really
Mm.
bad chest infections after she left. Yeah, because she'd been living with us for a long time, and we were really in close relationship. So there was a whole lot of layers and layers and layers. But so just acknowledging all that you're holding
Oh,
and releasing right now. So thank you for agreeing
yeah.
to be here and spending time with me on this call. Yeah.
Oh, it's a pleasure. No, it's a pleasure, like also after it passed, I have some work. I did some work because I was thinking, like, am I doing the work to disconnect from my feelings? And he was like, no, I feel like like this awareness of we're going to go. Like my father just passed away. So this awareness, like I'm going to pass away too. So it was like what I want to do where I'm here. And I said, I like to do work with people. So I'm going to do work with people. So I'm not going to push myself too much, but I want to do it. And I've been having my spaces of crying. I just watch again the Frankenstein movie. So it's about father
Oh,
saying, so it's a good way to release also
yeah.
anything that's stuck in there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Find a good movie to have a cry over or good program. That's good.
Right. Yes,
Yeah,
I've been having my moments of releasing,
yeah.
also my time of let me flow my cry, and
Mhm.
it's good. Yeah. So
And your workshop at the conference was around the father too, wasn't it?
he was mostly, yeah, he was the father, of course, yeah, but he was focused on patriarchy, but it was the father. And it's really funny because when they asked me what was the workshop about, at that moment, I was like, I'm resonating with this. So I decided to do the workshop. And prior to go to Merida, I went to visit my father because I say I need to connect with him because I'm going to give a workshop on the father. So I need to. It was a really good, and I really like that because I think that was yeah, that was the last time I saw him alive. Yeah, conscious. That
Conscious,
was
yeah.
the last time I saw him conscious because the next time he was in the hospital and he was not conscious anymore. So
Mm.
yeah, it was everything came together in a really like the field always surprises with
Sure
everything
does.
falling in place.
When
Right.
you're constellating, do you use like so I use the drum, do you use anything like that, or is yours more how do you work? How would you describe your style
Was
facilitation?
sorry, is that it got cut a little. What was the
Oh,
question?
sorry. Um, when you're facilitating, do you use
Mhm.
a drum, or are you more, do you like to do lots of exercises? How would you describe
Uh,
your
w-
style?
well, it depends. I do two kinds. If I do constellations, it's only constellations. Like if I do a workshop on some topic, then I do more exercise because I want everybody to have the experience of it. So it depending on the focus. So
Mhm.
that's what I do. And it comes from the beginning. If I invite people to a constellation workshop, it sounds only constellations. If I
Yeah.
invite them to a workshop of something with constellations, then I usually try to do exercise for everybody to experience it.
Cool. Okay.
And it was really nice. Like this time, I just did one in Torreon about how do I love. It was how do I love. So it was really beautiful because it was just making this consciousness that everything is supported by love, but
Mm.
the way we decide to love is different. So I took, these tools of the Greeks about the different ways of love. So I invited the people to experience how does that feels with different relationships, and also this beautiful images. Like we were like in the circle. I was like imagining a circle that every person that you love come to sit in this circle. And I was telling him, and if there's somebody that you forget, bring another chair for them. And if there's
Mm.
somebody standing in the back of your circle, invite them to come to the circle. So it was beautiful because people were saying how they remember people who, or acknowledge people who they love, but they were not able to acknowledge that they love these people. So in the end, they say like, my circle was growing, and there was a point when I realized that I have a really big circle of love and a lot of people that I love, and they love me. So that was a really beautiful experience and a beautiful exercise also for me to include all the people that I love.
So, is there are there themes that come, like, so some countries, like there's in New Zealand, there's a lot of suicide, there's a lot of grief, a lot of physical and sexual abuse. Is
Mm.
there, do you notice a theme for yourself, or a theme in the constellation field in Mexico?
Well, we would say that it has to be a lot of things with the absence of the father, that and what everything that comes with that, like problems with the couples, violence, addictions. That's something that it's like a theme in here. Based on that, I decided to focus more on working on the dynamic between couples. So basically, the dynamic between the masculine and feminine. That's why
Mhm.
I did the workshop on patriarchy, because I think it's like for me, after listening at Anwin about history, I'm always interested. Like, yeah, we're here, but where does this come from? We're part of something bigger. So where does this come from? So all the time, I'm like trying to go deeper and deeper. So I started, like going through racism, colonialism, so patriarchy, capitalism. So how these big systems impact the way families work, and then how the dynamics inside the families work. So that's something I'm interested about, and empowering. I remember when I started in constellations were a lot more like a soap opera. I remember, it was like everybody like in crying, and it was all these really intense things. And I like how it has been going more to the basics, to the what's important, not too much drama for me. It's more like what's really there for you, what's the tools you need. Like, yeah, touch the pain, of course, yeah, give a space for it, but don't take too long in there. We're in this society moving so fast, we don't have time to go there, like take too much time in dwelling in things that uh, are from the past. It's not that we don't acknowledge and we don't give the weight of it, but don't take too much over there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely changed and evolved in the time that I've been in it as well. And then I think the more facilitators you see, the more
Mhm.
you find yourself in the field as a facilitator. It's
Right,
yeah, it definitely has that influence, the influence over how your work comes out,
right.
right?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Do you have any
Yeah.
examples that you would feel comfortable in sharing? Anything that is memorable, obviously without sharing anyone's name or any details, but just something that you might have witnessed that you think, yeah, that stuck with me.
Like some event or some situation that happened.
Like, yeah, like a constellations where you've been a part of or you've been able to witness. Like
Well, what would come to me because it was like it got my attention in the workshop I did in about the patriarchy, and I say that because it's the latest that I have in my mind. Because
the
I've been seeing a
patriarchy,
lot
yeah,
of things.
yeah.
So yeah, so it was the moment where the representative of the shame on men, because women tend to carry this shame and patriarchy. We carry the shame of our father, the shame of our grandfather, and our own. After doing the movement of bringing the ancestors and love, the shame turned and she said, I'm not the shame anymore. I am vulnerability. For me, that was
Vulnerability.
like, wow, vulnerability. I was like, wow, like, because that's something I've experienced as a man and in younger generations of men. When you turn your shame into vulnerability, it's beautiful. You can open your heart, you can open to possibilities. But in the culture we live, it's not something
Mm.
available for men usually. There was a representative of expectations. You know what the expectations of the patriarchy towards men, and he said, I'm not expectations now. Now I am endless possibilities. So that also for me was like a man and a constellator, but also as a man was like, wow, that's beautiful. Like that was something that those gifts from the field. And what I'm remembering now, and I was sharing this with Barry the other day, is I was working for a hospital, and it was all the people from the hospital, doctors, nurses, the administration, everything. So we did a constellation and like all the parts of the hospital, and I asked for somebody representing the patients. So there was this woman representing the patient, and then I asked for somebody to represent the family of the patients. And it was funny because there was a doctor who stood up and he took his chair and he came with his chair to the constellation. I was like, really, like, why you bring the chair? And say, okay, what are you going to do with the chair? So he brought the chair, he put it in the back of the patients, of the representative of the patients, and he took the patients and sat her on the chair. So he was representing the family of the patients. He brought a chair, he took the patients and he seated the patients in the chair. And I asked him, why do you do that? He said, because I want them to be more comfortable. And then I asked the patients, how do you feel with this? And she said, I don't like it. When I was standing, I felt strong. I felt bad because I'm ill, but I feel strong. And when he took me and put me in the chair, I felt I lost all this power. So that was beautiful because that was represented this thing of Hellinger saying when you want to help, when there's no orders of help, and you want to help
Mm.
your families with their own destiny they're carrying, then you take them their dignity, and then you take them their strength. So that was also a beautiful thing that it just came to my mind now in this moment from
That's
the field.
fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Like that, it is out of order, isn't it? It's like when someone has something going on and it's honoring in their journey and their fate, and yeah, it can be hard in our humanness to not want to help or overhelp,
Right,
take the
right.
experience away from them. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember this person who tell me helping is he had bipolar disorder. He told me, helping for me is like imagine that we're both in a room, and he says, and I come to the room with a bucket full of shit, and I start throwing the shit all around. He says, and you don't tell me not to do it. You don't judge me for doing it. You don't help me with doing it. But also, you don't let yourself be stained by the shit. You're just there, present for me. And that was for me a great example. I was like, wow, okay, that's a great way to be helped. And I'm
Mm.
here with you,
Just be there.
with all my presence with you, respecting what you're living, what you're doing, but also putting
Mhm.
limits about my own personal space. So yeah, that's beautiful, I think.
Yeah. Do you work
Yeah.
online?
Yeah, online I do it only one-on-one. Like
Mhm.
I usually don't constellate. You know, I sometimes do it, but I prefer to do it in person. And
Yeah.
when I do the constellation, I like to do it morely like here. You know, like I like to imagine the constellation and just tell the people the images to do it.
You were
Oh,
talking about doing it more in the mind than in, is that
yeah,
correct?
like yeah. Like, well, I get all the information with the person. I imagine the constellations, and then I tell it to the people the images and the phrases to say. So that's some way I like to.
Fantastic. So if, because what part of Mexico are you in?
San Miguel de Allende. It's on the state of Guanajuato. It's around the center of Mexico, central Mexico.
I'll have to look at a map to see where that
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
But
yeah,
if
yeah.
anyone's listening that wants to reach out to Marco, how would they get in touch with you? If there's someone in Mexico that wants to work with you that has just found you from this podcast.
Oh, great. There's many options. My webpage, it's marconavarro.com.mx. There's my Instagram, it's Marco Navarro Psicoterapia. My Facebook, Marco Navarro Psicoterapia. My YouTube, Marco Navarro Psicoterapia. And my TikTok, Marco Navarro Psicoterapia. Yeah, that's
Fantastic.
so
Fantastic.
there's a lot of options.
Fantastic. Can you also, I've been just admiring that beautiful picture behind you. Can you tell me, is that
Oh,
your
thank you.
painting?
Yes, I'm doing it. Is that my sister works in the justice system, and she asked me for a painting to decorate her office. So
Mhm.
I'm doing a lady justice for her. Yeah, that's
Fantastic. And
something
is that based on
of
her?
my. No, it's just the idea is like a young Latin woman representing the new institutions led by young women, and also like all this kind of like the life, the flowers, and the intention is that her sword is not in the hand up like to attack. It's like she's giving up the sword, so you can decide like you're responsible for your things. So there's the sword, so you
Mm.
decide what you want to do or you don't want to do. So that's a little bit of the meaning of the painting. I hope she likes it. She-
Beautiful. That's very beautiful. So is painting
Thank you.
something that you do a lot of?
Yeah. It's been since I was a kid. I used to paint, but then I stopped at those things that you think you're not good at and everything. And a couple of years ago, I started painting, and that's something I do now. This is I have my Instagram page where I upload my paintings when I sometimes I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very beautiful. I paint
And it
also, so
nice.
yeah.
And it's a great way also to connect and to leave all the to take out all the symbology. I like that's something I really like when you
Mm.
let the symbols come out because a long time I work with tarot cards,
Yeah.
so I work with all the symbolism of it. So I really like when the unconscious just comes out and say, okay, let's do this. Let's see how that looks.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I'm doing a lot of that at the moment, just allowing it's almost like a constellation through the painting in a way.
Do you have your paintings online, or is there's a way to look at your
I'm
paintings?
just opening up a page. So I used to paint a lot,
Yes, please.
and
Okay.
then and now my style has completely changed. I used to do
Uh-huh.
a lot of very fine work, and layered,
Okay.
multi-dimensional stuff, like many layers on layers on layers. And I'm still doing layers, but in a different way and using different mediums and trying to be more freer with my painting because I was a little bit
Uh-huh.
the description would be it's a little bit anal because it would be like you're having to get all these fine things. That's how I would describe it for myself. Like, and it would
Okay.
be I was a little bit obsessed with it, like and so then I stopped painting and I took myself
Okay.
to some and I started doing some art journaling where you've got 20 minutes. So you
Oh,
sit in circle, you share what's there on the top for you, and then you've got 20 minutes to translate that on a page. And so you just go
okay.
deep into process for 20 minutes, maybe 30 if you're lucky, depending on how much people have been talking
Okay.
in the circle.
Okay.
And that allowed
Nice.
me to just really access that the freedom, getting looser and
Got it.
yeah, and my daughter she's very successful and she has a couple of clinics. She's got
Uh-huh.
three now, and she has asked me to do paintings for each of her clinics. And so I'm able
Wow.
to put in pieces of the things that, and her clinics are for skin and from the inside out. Um,
Wow.
So working with that, and it started with a painting that I had done for them, all based around parts of their journey as a couple. And from there I started doing them for her clinic and now I'm like, actually it tells such a story. It will be great to do that for people. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. There's a page being developed. So I'll
If
let you
you feel
know when it
comfortable, yeah, if you feel comfortable, it would be really good if you can share it online. I love to see like the work of other people. It's like you learn things, you find techniques. It's gorgeous. I think it's like another way of language. So I would love to if you
Mm,
if you're really up to it. It would be great if
yeah,
you can
yeah.
share
I'll
it.
let you
Like
know. I'll let you know when I'm releasing it.
right, that would be great.
It's another layer of me as well, which feels really nice too,
Nice.
isn't it? It's a way of expressing yourself in another way.
Yeah. And I really love that as you were saying, like that we're talking here and acknowledging that we had this sensitive thing, this things like we're not we were not because we were come a time where all these things were is like either you're crazy or the art
Mm,
is something like it's not something you would leave of it, all those things. And turns out that it was just sensitive people doing sensitive things, and now it's great to get back to find each other and say, "Oh, great! I'm not the only sensitive here, and it's nice to have friends that are just like me." That feels
exactly.
so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And like going to the circle of the bee is really nice to find the rest of the bees dancing in the
You're talking about
in the
bees. I've got
garden.
little honeycombs in my ears at the moment.
Oh, wow. You see? That's nice.
Yeah. A friend's daughter has started creating them, and I was like, yeah, when she described them, like the
Okay.
honeycomb attracting the bees, and if you were to thinking about
Right.
abundance and the frequencies that you want to attract, and you put that intention, and it was like,
Right.
yeah, that sounds like something I'd like to be working with right now. So it's
Wow. Thank
mm,
you. You see,
mm,
we're resonating with the bees also.
mm,
That's
mm.
nice.
Well, it's been beautiful to be able to connect with you again and
Yes, of
um,
course.
and to share this time. Is there anything that you would like to share? Anything else that you'd like to share before we sign off today?
Uh, just what one of my teachers used to say that the only terrible thing in this world is that everything is okay.
The only terrible
So
thing in this world is that everything's okay.
everything is okay. Yeah, that's I really love that. When you're like, the only terrible thing is that everything
It
is
is
okay.
though,
Okay,
isn't it?
I
When
get
you
it.
can see it in that way, it's like, oh
Yeah,
yeah. When something
yeah,
uncomfortable happens and you think,
right. Because in the moment it feels like it's never ending, but when you have this awareness, it's like, oh, it's temporary.
"Mm,
Just enjoy it. And it's also like if it's great, enjoy it because it's gonna end. If it's terrible, enjoy it because it's gonna end. And now at this moment, after my closeness to death through my father, I'm really feeling it and really appreciate it. You know, it's like everything's gonna end. So just let's go. Like Frankenstein tells to the monster when he asks, "Father, what should I do with my life?" And he answered, "Just go and live." I was like, "Oh,
Mm.
thank you. Let's do that." So thank you very much. Really, really, I really appreciate. I love to talk to you. And I
Mm.
love these connections of souls. I really appreciate that. You know, like knowing that we're not alone. There's always
Exactly.
somebody.
Yeah. What is it? Keep shining your weird light so other weirdos can find you.
Great.
Yay!
Let's do it. I love that. Let's do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
brilliant.
right.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening. Head over to Instagram and tell me what's resonated for you with this episode. You'll find me at tracy.cartwright. That's Tracy with no E, Cartwright. Or head over to my website, tracycartwright.co.nz, and receive a free audio with the gift from your ancestors. So until next time, be kind to yourself and have fun doing it.